We're going live now. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Timothy. Good evening, Felicity. Just drop a hello in the chat box if you can hear me, please, and we'll give everyone a few minutes to catch up and to come online. Get started. Tonight we're looking at the fifth of the boards. A very chilly night here, and rather blustery night in Adelaide. Hello, Timothy. Thank you. You can hear us well, and great to see you as always, Timothy. Thanks for joining us, and we'll just give everyone a bit of a chance to come in. If you have any comments or questions or reflections from last week, please pop them in the chat box while we're giving folk a minute or so, and then we'll get underway. So just to let you know, we're finishing the formal part of the presentation tonight, in the sense that that's the formal part of the boards, but there is one more week to go. I'll still be here next week, by the look of things. My trip to the land being pushed back, so we'll join forces here again next week, but a little bit more of that later on. Good evening, Steve. Great to have you here. And Felicity, I can see you there too. And, we're 2 minutes past the hour in Adelaide, and I guess we're just about ready to get started. So I have on the other camera here Mr. John Hartley. Good evening, John. How are you going?
Good evening, Sal. I'm really well, thank you. And Yalada Jonga, hello and a big welcome to all our friends and relations out there. Good to see Timothy, Felicity and Steve that I can see online and joining with us. So good evening to you all.
So tonight is called Goriella, Rainbow Serpent, the Beginning and the End. And I have a little quote here I'm going to read. In my people's language, we call this one Yaru, rainbow snake. This one goes to many places all over the country from top to bottom, and is known by many of our peoples by different names, but in the main is related to the creation of the landscape and waters. Water has many healing properties for my people. We use it for protection as well. It is a symbol of unity, birth, life, death, and rebirth, both spiritually and physically. It shows too the interrelationship and connection from beginning to end, just like these boards, the past, the present, the future is an expression of what precedes it. So what comes to my mind immediately there is how the holistic nature of the Aboriginal cultures, and how everything is related to everything else, and the connections go right across the country, through the songlines, through the culture, through variations in language, through the community of communities that are all linked across this land. So we're going to have a look to see if there's any questions from last week, or comments rather. Comments, questions, queries, anything you like. Please take the opportunity to drop a few words into the chat box as we reflect on the celebration subject that we talked about last week. So, celebration, John. Would you like to say anything on that before we have a look at the presentation for this week?
Well, it's given the other three presentations thus far, looking at those areas, particular areas, naming those particular areas, bringing those areas out into the light of day for discussion, there comes a point where we need to, again, take control and move forward into the celebration of who we are as First Peoples of this country. In fact, we need to actively begin a decolonisation process. I don't think that the decolonisation process is solely the realm is the responsibility for First Peoples. In fact, it's the responsibility of all of us in this country if we're going to create a vision for the future generations, but also, well, a healthy vision for future generations, but also how we begin to walk towards that vision.
Okay, so sorry.
You're right. Yeah.
So I might take us into the film clip for tonight. It's one that we recorded during the week because it wasn't possible to do it with screens. We actually needed to film it. You'll see why in a second. So I'll just check. We've got nothing waiting in the discussion box for us at the moment, so I'll put that on now. And
no vocals, Dave.
You're not getting any?
No. Just see if the others are getting any audio.
Just a sec. I'll just stop that for a sec. Now, it could be, everyone, we've got a problem with our audio here. Could you just let me know if that was coming through? Are we getting any audio there? We're not at the moment. I've just turned that off.
No. Okay.
Thanks, Timothy. Just give me a second, and I will put it up in a different way. Why are we not getting any audio there? So, I could hear it on my end here, so I'm not sure why that isn't playing through.
Okay. I can hear you and John, but no music. The screen kept jumping between the two of you in real time in the video.
Yeah. Yes. Input from there. Let me try this. Got anything, John?
No.
What? Not yet.
No audio.
Why is that? Just give me a moment here. Now, if I do this one, did John that one, John?
No.
No. Okay. So, my apologies, folks. Dear, dear. Let's try this. Play through to built-in output. Got that now?
Yes. Yep.
And thank you once again for joining with us.
Okay.
It is our fifth episode entitled Guriella. Guriella, briefly, is referred to in a generic sense as the rainbow serpent, and its ability to interconnect regeneration, revitalisation, and creation. It is a creative, gentle force. Today, I'll be just giving a brief overview of where we've been to date, and we'll begin, of course, with the first storyboard, the heart. If you remember, in the first session, we looked at this storyboard. The heart was looking at Aboriginal values, beliefs, and practices, social organisations pre-1788. The role of men and women, elders, our bush foods, our medicines, rituals, and ceremonies, and the cohesiveness of a lawful society. In our second episode entitled White Clouds Stop, we looked at policies that were forcibly imposed on Aboriginal peoples, extermination, segregation, forced kidnaps of peoples from family and home country, and the various methods of what they termed in brackets dispersal. That was White Clouds. In our third episode, we looked at the storyboard Alienation, which looked at the impacts of those forced policies and acts and actions by British imperialist forces in 1788. Those impacts included the breakdown of family structures, loss of language, of homelands, of identity and culture. Our fourth storyboard is entitled Celebration. And this one here, we looked at the process of decolonisation and looking at reconnecting again to those things in the first storyboards, reconnecting to country, reconnecting to bush foods, language, families, ceremonies, rituals, etc., ancestral ways and beliefs and practices of our people. And here, now, this fifth storyline is entitled Kuku Yaral, and we see Kuku Yaral winding his way throughout the country, signifying interconnectedness and regeneration and renewal. And also here we see how, in spite of those who would refer to looking at factual history as a black man view, and that history has nothing to do with where we're at today, obviously. But in fact, we can see here quite clearly how coming from a functioning society and then subsequent colonisation process, how this begins to break down and create trauma in individuals, families, and in fact, trauma that spans generations. It's Aboriginal worldview, everything is interdependent, interconnected. People to earth, and everything that happens is all connected. So here we look at these storyboards, Kuku.
Okay, let me just correct my audio again. Okay, should be right now. And so, John, all the boards come together for that for the final story.
Yes.
The story of Kuku Yaral.
Yes. Yeah.
Reminds me straight away, excuse me, of the gorge up there at Mossman and the river flowing down. I can't hear the name without it bringing to mind the Mossman Gorge and those big round boulders there.
Mm.
And I start talking about it and hear the water running, and think of the Moon Rock and those other places there that you showed me, and that are so much a part of that community and so much a part of that story and so much a part of your family.
Yeah. That's so true. You know that once you've put your toe into that bunner, into that water, it'll call you back forever. And we call those huge rocks, in fact, we call those Kuku Yaral eggs, where Kuku Yaral travel and left deposited eggs along the way. So yeah, a very special place indeed.
I'm just looking at the comments here, folks. I see that there's been a problem with the clip coming through. I will Steve says he can hear it. Volume is low. Mostly seeing John looking at videos. Sound still faint. It's about 5 minutes. Could you play it again? Steve asks. Okay, let me try that again. Routing for the audio, and
F's the start and the rest was low. Okay. Could we perhaps put a link where they could link on it directly, Sal, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Okay.
we'll save that. Can you still hear me now, John?
No, I couldn't hear you before. I can hear you now, though. Yeah.
You can hear me now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to go one more. Sorry, folks. There's only so much testing that we can do beforehand.
We're coming through clear now, so...
Yes, this part's all right. It's actually when we're replaying from the clip that the problem's happening. So there we are. We should be seeing John in a sec. There. Now, is the audio going to go? That's the question.
No audio. Oh, my ears.
Sorry about that.
Is there a way that we can post this, David? So, no.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there a way we can post it so people perhaps can click on a link?
Yes, there is. Let me. We really need to see it at the moment so that we can have the discussion on that.
Can you put up a still of me just sitting with the 4 boards, David, and I'll talk over that.
I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And perhaps during the week, if we provide people with a link, they could go to the link and see it as presented.
I've got something. We've got a green one. Okay, just give me a sec, and I'll grab a of the 4 boards. And right, we should have the 4 boards there now.
Okay. Can people hear me if I'm talking from here? One, two.
So thanks.
1, 2. Can people hear me?
Just put a yes in the box if you can hear now. So you should see the 4 boards assembled. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Trish.
Thanks, Trish.
Okay, John.
Okay, so essentially what I'm doing here is giving a presentation and joining the boards for the first time. Looking at the screen, the very top left, we commence with the heart, which looks at First Peoples social organisation, values, practices and beliefs pre-1788. We then fast forward, no boards on view, okay. Okay. I'm just seeing that. Can people see the boards or no?
Okay, we may have a an issue here of
okay.
See the boards and hear John. Thanks, Felicity.
Thank you. Right. Okay. And Trish, can you see the boards? Steve says yes. Timothy and Trish, you okay? You can see the boards? Okay, got boards, Timothy, yep. I can only see Dave.
I think you'll catch up in a sec, Trish.
Tony, yes, I can see the boards. Hi, Tony. Good to see you there. Trish, see video of John. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so apologies for that. It must be the right time to begin. As I said previously, looking at the screen, the top left was the storyboard entitled The Heart, which looks at Aboriginal social organisation, ancestral values, beliefs and practices pre-1788. We move laterally to our right of the top board into White Clouds Upon the Water. That we looked at the number of policies, acts that were forcibly imposed upon First Peoples. commencing in 1788. Coming down diagonally on the left-hand corner now of the boards, below the heart. Oh, hang on, we've gone again, David.
Yeah. What's happened?
I don't know. It's a windy, woolly night here in South Australia, folks. It's interfering with our transmission. There we go. Okay, so we have the bottom left-hand corner of screen. We have the storyboard entitled Alienation, which looked at the impacts and effect upon First Peoples, families, and way of life, and indeed way of being. Moving laterally to the right again, we come into the storyboard entitled Celebration, where we start to look at what are those things that we need to do to start to move from this very real sense of alienation and back into a healthy way of living. And that was Celebration looks at reconnecting and regenerating, healthy eating, language, ceremony, family, and respectful role of elders, etc. And tonight we see these storyboards joined together for the first time, and we see how each board is not separate from the other. Each interconnects into the other, and we see the representation of Guriala, what my people call Guriala, the generic name for rainbow serpent these days, that goes from the top to bottom all over the country, symbolizing rebirth, regeneration, growth, both spiritually and physically, and the coming together of people. It's also showing that certain people who would advocate that there is a black arm view of history, and also that somehow history or the process of colonization in relation to First Peoples had a certain period of beginning and end. This is, we can see clearly that in fact history plays a very big role in what we see around the country today in relation to First Peoples. The past is not separate from present or future, nor future separate from present and past. All are interconnected, and all have an impact. And in order to begin to move forward, we need to sit down together and to bring these things, what we call unfinished business. We need to bring them from what I call from under the colonial blanket, which covers the continent. We need to begin to lift that colonial blanket and bring into the light of day all these things in relation to First Peoples. And we need to be able to do that in a mature way. We need to be able to do that as a meeting of equals. And in order for us all to begin to really walk together, then the unfinished business must be addressed. And we need to do that together. And in order to do that, we need to have a vision of what our future may be in the coming years ahead and in those generations that are still to come. And if we look at our storyboards and your answers, could you take that one off, David, for a minute, please? And,
sorry. Yeah.
Just take that one. Yeah.
So back to the storyboards.
No, just to this one here, just to the. Yeah. Oh no, back. Yeah, just to that. Thanks. We see pre-colonisation. We asked the question, what response was people seen it as being a harmonious, interconnected, grounded, responsible, complex, a learn by doing, and a spiritual way of being. We move forward some 200 years to 1788, and we looked at those policies and acts forcibly imposed upon our first peoples. This included assimilation, taking children or kidnapping children, segregation, protection, punishment for speaking languages, incarcerated in what they called missions, unhealthy diet, tea, flour and sugar essentially, slave labour, working for nothing in the cane fields or in the cattle industry, working for rations, or the women indeed working as domestics. There was no rights to voting, enforced work, extermination, alienation, dispersal and apartheid. Indeed. And we looked at impacts on Aboriginal society. The responses were, it was one of destruction, disappearing, alienation, depressed, oppressed, dismantled, disenfranchising, disintegration, and I cannot quite see the bottom of that board. But if we go...
devastated, genocide, massacred.
Right.
There.
Right. And we now, and we asked the question last week if people would provide a few sentences of what they would see as a future vision, and it was very interesting responses. But what we did was to take little bits out of each of those responses and collate them together, and what we end up with is this: a future society where First Peoples culture becomes a method and a way of living that any and all members of the country can access and use to build their own sense of self and community. A future Australian society that acknowledges, appreciates, embraces and celebrates the culture, customs and wisdoms of First Peoples. This should be both officially and at grassroots levels. A future society where First Peoples' cultural diversity, wisdom and values are preserving the unique, many-faceted heritage for all future generations. That should not only be written into law, but become accepted as part of the way we all live. A future society where First Peoples are respected and recognised for their contribution to caring for and nurturing our country. Their peaceful and spiritual culture is admired and emulated by many. A society that recognises we are all thoroughly connected to each other and the environment. A future society where First Peoples are respected and recognised for their contribution. I think I've read that one. Nurturing our country, their peaceful and spiritual culture is admired, and I've read that one. A future society where caring and sharing becomes an inherent aspect of an all-encompassing identity. A future society where tolerance and acceptance be given of all interactions, with the understanding that we live under the same sky as equals, all originating from the same creator. Um, so
I've just had the link up, everyone. I hope you worked out what that was. It was a link so that you could actually just download a copy of that PDF that John was just reading from. Let me know if you didn't get a chance to grab it. I'll put it up again.
If we just go back to the boxed one, David, if we could.
Yes.
Yeah, please. So the question now becomes, given the impacts upon First Peoples societies, destruction, disappearance, annihilation, depression, oppression, disenfranchisement, disintegration, and the last one's there, David, genocide.
Devastated, genocided, massacred.
Genocide and massacre. And to the future vision that that yous have put in and just read out. How do we go from that to that vision? What is it as individuals that that we need to do, or rather that we can do, to begin to bring about that walk into that vision? And this is a question perhaps that we will keep for our next Sunday evening session. So it's about what it is within your capacity that you can do that begins to start, that we can begin to start walking towards that vision. Now, it doesn't have to be big things. It can be simple, everyday things, such as having a conversation with your friends. It can be, you can write letters, you can, something that you feel anyway, that is within your capacity to do, that would contribute to realizing and bringing into being that vision. And yeah, and again, that would be the question, perhaps, if we come together again next week, that we can then discuss and have a yarn about on our final presentation of this series, or this episode anyway, of Kuku Yaral.
I just like to say, John, this is such an important question, and I've talked about it at other occasions, at you know, walking the bridge and so forth, and attending demonstrations, and you know, a whole lot of things. And the question would always be, what can we do?
Mm.
In some ways, that sort of assumes that the answer is a difficult one, or something that's hard to do, or something that hasn't been within our reach so far. But really, I don't think that's the case. It's the simple things. It's about making things a part of what we do on a daily basis, a part of the way we think, really.
Yes.
Makes such a huge difference. And for that to, you know, by osmosis, simply work its way out to our circle of friends, to the people that we meet, and you know, it things. It can be the things we do, you know, the conversations we have. There can be some big things too, but I think we can be distracted into inaction on it because we can feel that it's all too hard. And certainly some things are very difficult, but there's also some things that everyone can do. So I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts and contributions to that next week.
Indeed.
I had the opportunity this week to go on radio and talk about Kuku Yaral and what we've been doing here, and also Two Brothers Walking. And I think one of the things that surprises me over and over again is how little the people, just general Australians, you know, who are just, you know, normal, average people, how little access they have to proper information, you know, just the truth of things. And we've been talking a lot about it here over the last 4 weeks. But when I talk to people, there's always lots of things they say, oh, I didn't know about that, you know, and I think we can easily fall into the trap of thinking that everyone is might be as knowledgeable as you are, or that you're just learning. But I would encourage you to see that you're actually probably way ahead of the average Australian person. Simply because you're here indicates that. Would you agree, John?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't want to rate anyone, but for sure, it takes time, and it takes an openness and a giving heart, I think, to be able to sit down and to listen, particularly over the areas that we've discussed here today, because it is they're not in the main, in the recent, very, very recent history and the ongoing impacts of upon First People. It's not an easy thing to listen to, and it can appear almost to be beyond belief, you know. And the fact that you are here, yes, I tend to agree, David, that it's a marker, at least, that people, that our hearts and our ears are open for that and for change, and rightly so, I think. I think mass media can be very, very misleading, and I always think that if you in the First People homelands, communities around the country, you're going to get a multitude of views on every subject, you know, and I think it's always good, though, to get those views firsthand from the people most affected by any policy change or whatever. Those policy changes initiated by government, I have found to be somewhat suspect over the years. So it's always good to get some first-hand knowledge from people who are on the ground, I think. Yeah. Can we have that link again so we can give input on what we can do to contribute for the future?
Sure can. So I will send out it again as well, but I'll put it up on the screen now for 30 seconds or so you can grab it. Here we go.
And David, could we put a link to the video that people may be able to see that? But also, are you going to post the link to your radio interview, which people may be of interest?
Yes, I will. I was thinking I might actually set that up when the week that I'm away.
Yeah, for the last one, that'd
That
be good.
it's nice to have something here each week, and so that will be a recorded one.
Yeah.
There won't be any vision with it, but it'll be of that radio interview where I'm talking generally about. It's really the high-level conversation in terms of the concepts of just trying to head around the different worldviews, and to me that's an important thing because it's unless we have it pointed out to us, unless we see it, and we tend to assume that things are the way we think they are through our worldview, but often that's not the case. Now, the offer published to all attendees, so that should be up there now. That link that should have been showing for the last minute or so. I can't actually see in the chat box at the same time as putting this up, so
Okay. So does right? I can't see that it's up, David. I can't see
you
it.
can't see that it's up.
No.
You may not see it, John.
Okay. Okay.
Because you're presenting here.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just to reiterate the question for next week is, what is it that needs to be done, or in fact, what is it that you can do to assist us in walking towards that lovely vision that was created by all of you last week? I mean, just reading that is a real shot in the arm, I think, and I think Timothy mentioned sometime before that there is indeed a shift or a change in the air, and I think that's true too. And
John, I'm going to just have one more attempt, if I may, to play through the video.
Sure.
Can get the audio there, so let's just see how we go. No, we want to continue broadcast. I want to put up a different. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Anyone? You can hear me now. My apologies, everyone. Obviously, we need to go back to the storyboard on that one there. For some reason, we're not getting audio from our film clips through to the other part of the platform. So I will go back and send you a link in the email so that you can listen to that when you have a spare 5 or 10 minutes to do so. We'll you can drop me a line through through Facebook. I'm assuming that you have access to our Facebook page. If you could send me a message if you have any trouble getting hold of that, I'd be very happy to help out in whatever way I can in getting that to you. And my apologies once again for this evening's technical issues. So next week we'll come back together and we'll have a discussion of the ideas, the things, the suggestions that you come up with, the things that we can do to move towards the visions that you responded with in one of our earlier sessions. So we're just about on 8 o'clock. I'm sorry that we've had those problems tonight, and we'll find a way of. Sure.
And can I say thank
any
you?
Final words, John? Closing words for tonight?
Yeah, again, apologies to all. Hopefully a little bit of our intent came through. And as David said, hopefully when you have an idle moment during the week, you can click onto the link and watch it there. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week. And to Timothy, Trish, Steve, Felicity, Tony, and to all those that are listening that I can't see or read of, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thanks, Steve. I will see you in the email and those links to you. Just let me know if you also need a link for the PDF just before we go off offline tonight, off the call, and I'll set that up for you or send that out again too. So I'll just give a chance for the latency of the system to catch up. Need the PDF link. Please put a yes in the chat box, and I will add that along with the link to the video clip. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you coming on. Steve got the PDF, great. And you here, we'll see you again next week. We were thinking that we'd have a break because of other commitments, but things have changed. So we will see you next week. Thank you very much. Keep warm and stay well. Take care.